Hello, dear listeners. This is your host, Osheye. Thank you so much for all of your support thus far. This podcast has grown so much in just a few short months. We are absolutely awed and humbled at the response, and it is always a delight to read from you about the impact we are having. Please do keep them coming. As we wrap up the first season, I have a favor to ask. Would like your feedback to help us in our plans for the second season. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like us to start doing, stop doing, or even continue doing? To get your responses, we've created a simple form. Please check the show notes of this episode for the link and our social media pages at OriginsAF on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can simply type bit.ly, B for banana, I for interview, T for tangerine, bit.ly/Origins Africa Podcast Feedback. Origins is with an S, so bit.ly/Origins Africa Podcast Feedback right now to access the form. We are also considering starting a newsletter, which would include the transcripts of each episode and perhaps also 3 things I learned from each guest interview. If it's something you'd like, please let us know on the same feedback form and also share your thoughts with us on some of the things you'd like us to consider for the newsletter or any other ideas generally. I look forward to receiving your responses. The link again is bit.ly/Origins Africa Podcast Feedback. Thank you once again for staying on this ride with us. Now, being our last episode, I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. Do remember that your dreams are valid. The late Maya Angelou once said that there's no greater agony than the untold story inside you. So here's also wishing you the strength, the courage, and the resilience to live your dreams as we go into 2021. Thank you once again. Enjoy.
By December 2016, customers were paying 1 month ahead of time for our products. By March 2017, our revenue had dropped 90%.
Wow.
Because we took a price increase in February and everybody stopped buying.
My father told me life is not a bit.
This is Origins Africa Podcast, where we explore the origin stories of people who have made and are making their dreams come true, asking the what, the when, the how, and the why. I'm Osheye, and on this episode, the concluding part of our chat with Debby Gbola Lawson, co-directors at Fastizers Food Confectionery Limited. We talk about the challenges they faced as the business rapidly grew and how they were able to effectively navigate those challenges on their journey to building a successful company. This is our first partnership series on Origins Africa. On the last episode, we explored the birth and growth of Fastizers Food Confectionery Limited, a rapidly emerging food manufacturing company which started from a kitchenette in 2010 with very basic equipment and with 960 naira only. Today, Fastizers runs a 2-acre automated production factory in Agbara, Ogun State, fitted with modern baking equipment. Their current distribution covers over 20 states with a production of over 600,000 Fastizers Fun cookies daily. Gbola and Debby Lawson, co-directors of Fastizers, also talked about the impact of COVID-19 on the business and how they've adapted, as well as how they have been able to effectively complement themselves as partners towards building a successful company. As Fastizers grew, Debby had expanded their retailer network from Sele to Oshodi to Mushin and then Ikeja. But with the expansion came an increase in the risk, and they were losing money.
So at that time, we had almost 50 retailers we were supplying every day at those different points. But we had to go back, to collect the money. So it was and some of them would even run away with your money at that time because it was just a temporary space. It wasn't as if they had a shop, So from there, they know that maybe they are owing a lot of people and they can't pay. Maybe they've used it to sort their personal issues. They will just run away. So the risk was becoming very high. We were losing money, and so we came back again and said, okay, how are we going to, solve this issue? So that was where the distributor, model came and said, see, we need to get, a distributor that sells to these people. Where these people, at least that one is, of course, they have shops. It might be, those ones are kind of permanent, where they are.
What year was this? What year?
2012. Yes, okay. About 2012. So I remember we got the first distributor at Oshodi. So we went there, and because some of these retailers have gone to ask, are you selling phone cookies? I know. So when we came, in fact, it was as if she was expecting us, to come. So she, welcomed us. She accepted. Okay, no problem. I'll be the, distributor here. So we kind of moved them, to. I don't know how they were managing the credit sale. I think they collect money from some, maybe those that they know, but they were able to manage it. So we now moved, from retailer, to distributorship. So we went to select the same thing. The people they were buying from, of course, because it was fast moving, they accepted. We went to Mushin. So that was how the distributor model came. At that time, 6 months after we got to Sele, that place became small, the two shop. So we had to extend to Oshodi. We had to extend to a 4-room shop in Oshodi. About a year later, the place became very small. We now had to move to a duplex in Ajawa Estate. Now we have to buy more equipment at that time.
Funds for this, also same strategy, loans?
Yes. So after the loan I took from my brother and the one we took from the microfinance bank, we took another
from the bank.
We took another one from a commercial bank. About $1 million plus at that time. Yeah. But we were taking those loans in my name.
Yes.
So I was taking those loans in my name, and then we were using it for the business.
Were you married then?
Yeah, we got married in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, so we moved to Ajawa Estate in 2012. So we were married at that time, and then so we took that loan in my name, and then I think 1.2 million, and then we repaid that loan, so that we use that to pay for the rent while we moved our equipment and then our equipment there.
Okay. So I think I got a call when we had moved, and somebody called and said, "Oh, I bought your product in Lagos. I took it to the East. The response was very positive. I want to be your distributor in the East." Wow, I was excited. So yeah, it came. We had a meeting together. I didn't even know anything about the logistics and all of it. I said, "No problem. Just take the goods to sell to Alaba. I buy a lot of things from Lagos. So when you take it there, they will help me. Wow, that was very good." So he was the man from the East, was our first distributor up country. So from there, by the time, when things get to Aba, it's like a central place. So a lot of people come from different places, different, other states to buy. So we started getting calls from Port Harcourt. Oh, we went to Aba, we saw your product. Started getting calls from Imo, Enugu, different, states, because they had bought it at Aba. And, the response was very, of course, the same we don't, take goods, we don't have logistics, but we can take it to Alaba for you. That's where we supply. So no problem. So, that was how, we started increasing, our demand started increasing because, of course, our capacity has increased. So our customer base also increased because we're supplying a lot of people, up country. So I think about, a year later also, we realized that, the way we are going, this place will become very small. So instead of, having to rent another place, because when you rent, you have to break the walls to, because of what we do, you have to renovate to suit, what we do. We said, we don't think this is a good idea to keep renting and renting. So that was the idea of, owning our own, facility, came. And we said, okay, where is the closest place? And it was because we were supplying to Alaba. And at that time, we said, okay, Agbara is kind of closer, to because of logistics, it's closer to where we supply up country and all of that. So we settled, for 2 acres. We got 2 acres in Admara. We first used maybe about 3 plots. We built a very small, factory at that time. And because, like I said, it was just in a nylon and a sticker. But right now we're going from manual to semi-automated automation because we had to get more machines, so we had to rebrand and the product. So kind of put it in a tray, in a packaged,
This was 2013?
Yes. 2014. 2015.
Okay.
Yes. 2015.
So we bought the land in 2013.
Yes.
In 2014, we started construction of the factory and then commenced
January.
operation in 2015.
Okay. How were you able to buy the land?
How? In terms of raising? So at that time, we had then capacity had grown, right? Turnover had increased. And one of the things that worked for us till now, we are still very prudent, with funds, Debby and I were talking yesterday. We're like, it's like we're on that page. I'm telling you, we're still discussing yesterday. So for all this while, maybe Debby's salary was like maybe 50K, and then we were doing monthly turnovers in millions. So we're just saving.
How are you taking care of the expenses with that?
I think
I was in the bank.
I was in the bank at that time.
I was in the bank all the way to 2014.
Okay.
So and that helped because she wasn't living off the business.
Okay.
She was living. I was providing for the family while she focused on growing the business, and then the 50K was more of just taking care of some personal effects and all of that, and so capture your cost, a bit of your cost, because whether or not you pay yourself, that cost is there. You are just not capturing it. So we saved. We saved a lot. So we were able to buy the land from our savings.
Yes.
At that time.
You didn't get to take a loan.
We didn't take a loan.
Okay.
We were able to buy the land from our savings at that time. Obviously, we're also be able to negotiate favorable payment terms. So we didn't pay once, Okay. We paid maybe 20%. You know what? If we go into that land, because we bought it from money, if we go into that land transaction, there's another session on its own. But in summary, we paid a deposit. We fenced, then to see if anybody was going to disturb, we did halfway fence, then we balanced. Okay. On the day we balanced, that was the day disturbance came from another family that owned the property, and then we had to do rectification with those ones and all of that. But we paid for that in full from the business. Then in 2014, I was still in the bank all the while, and the demands of the business began to increase. I was having to talk to customers from the office. I just felt like, this business had a lot more potential than what it was currently doing. So that was the goal, that there was potential. The question is, okay, how do we tap into that potential? Debby was good, but Debby was also limited in terms of business development. She was more operation focused. So how do we get that? We needed someone that was strategic and that could do business development. And I'm like, okay, let's go and hire a MD. But I don't know how to hire an MD. How we bring in an MD that would Debby now work under the person? If Debby is not under the person, can the person really be, an effective MD? So the other option was, okay, maybe I should resign and then join and then, provide that role. But then that was where the major concern is. So you want to put all your eggs in one basket. I was doing very well in my banking job. I'd been promoted like twice. I changed job once, got the next level. So, the lines were falling in place for me. Just wait where you are. You're on your way to one GM or one GM or one manager in the bank. That was what was there. But I just felt this was bigger. I had passion for this. I'd realized that, you could solve problem anywhere. I wasn't just in IT. I was in IT, even in the bank. And then I said, okay. So the way forward is for me to join the business. But how do I justify my pay? What if I come and I'm not able to, add as much value as I thought I was going to add? So I told her something. We still do it till today. I said, you know what? Look at how much waste you are generating today. right? And look at how much I'm earning. The waste you are generating today in this business, this was 2013, is more than times 2 of my current salary. If I resign and I'm able to cut your waste by half, it means that I have saved the business what I'm earning now. Can you pay me half of that? So assume this business doesn't grow again. Well, it has always been our philosophy.
Yes.
The same philosophy we used to borrow money back in the day to say, assuming this business doesn't grow beyond what it is, if we can only cut the costs by waste costs by 50%, that alone should be enough to take care of both of us.
So it was still a strategic decision. It wasn't like you just came to your wife and said,
No!
I want to resign my job. You have to do like plan of.
I think that discipline has always been there.
Yes.
That discipline has always been there. So, I told her, like, see, so we looked at it, she said, fine. So it was, yeah.
When he told you, did you think about it for a while or did you just say, yes, come on?
Because we had done, business together in school. We got a small generator, we rented it. And we were very accountable, Bola, every kobo, we calculate, So I had seen that Bola was coming together with, 2 are better than 1. So right from, I've had it in mind that even if Bola says he wants to join, I wasn't thinking anything. Even if there was really nothing, even if we were going to drink Gary, but for us to be together, I knew that it would make the business, bigger than what it is. So when he was, yes, of course, he tried to explain. The fears were there, I won't lie that, but it was
fears of putting all your eggs in one basket, or
yes.
what was that fear?
Yes, that fear of what if, something happens or we are together in this job and something happens and, from the way he brought his analysis and say, okay, see, this waste, I can reduce it. If I do it, pay me half. You are not even saying pay me more. You are saying pay me half of the waste. So it was kind of reasonable to say, okay, at least what we have, we can, even if we don't live, a very big life, and all of that, at least we can eat. Okay. We can eat 2 times or 3 times in a day. And that's very basic at that time. So the fears were there, but the way he came, presented himself, kind of shielded it out, a bit.
So before that, you had thoughts of him joining, but you hadn't told him about it?
It was just there.
Why didn't you tell him or suggest it?
No, because he was doing well where he was, and I didn't want it to be, I don't really know why. Let me say, I don't really know why I didn't tell him about it. But we've always been together, even if it was not. So we've always discussed about the business. There was nothing that happened in the business that he wasn't aware of. So it was like a joint. To me, he was there, though not physical, but he was there. So maybe that was why I didn't tell come and join me or so.
Okay. So you resigned.
Okay, so that was the thing. We did a business case. Okay, even in the waste, these were the things I was going to do when on how I was going to reduce the waste. And then I came in 2014. The first project I did when I resigned was to build the factory. Okay. That was the first thing I did. So my last day was 30th of May 2014 in my banking job. The first working day, that was a Friday. The first working day was, I think, 2nd or 3rd of June of that same year. That was the day we broke ground in building the factory. That project took about 6 months. So that was like the first major thing I did. Obviously, including, so she was almost fully in the factory, in the factory at that time, doing the operations. I was focused on building the new factory. We weren't doing a lot of business development then because even the demand we had, we couldn't meet. So we're like, let us build this factory, increase our production capacity, then we'll start developing new markets. And that was exactly what happened. So we built the factory in 2014, moved 2015 into the factory, and then we ran the 2 operations simultaneously for 6 months because the packaging was different. The product was was technically different, even though it was the same brand, the same shape, but it was now in a tray, different package, and the way consumers behave to change is unpredictable.
Yes.
You can have a better product and consumers will not buy it because of perception. Yeah. So, but leaving the two products gave us room to transition into the new product, and then by the time that one had even a better positive feedback than the old one, we then withdrew the old product. So that was kind of how we transitioned, and then leveraging on the existing channels, we kept on doing more business development, pushing the new products to the new existing customers. All this while we didn't have a sales team.
Yeah.
We didn't have a sales team. We were managing it by ourselves. We just had delivery guys and drivers. So at that time we hired a few sales guys, then I was now like the national sales guy, and then we had those guys developing those markets, and that's how we grew, from 2015. It was an interesting journey because it wasn't without challenge. One of the things that I used to assume when you heard mismanagement was that the managers of a business, what's that word now? Ate the company's money.
Okay.
Do you understand? Use the business company's money for personal needs. And that if you don't do that, then you are not going to mismanage your business. But that's not necessarily true. Sometimes mismanagement is just improperly assigning the resources of the business, even while you are in that business. So, we had a seemingly mismanagement situation because we built the factory fully and bought machines fully from the revenue of the business.
Yeah.
So we, number one, underestimated the size of the project. So by the time we were halfway into the project, the money that we budgeted for the project was fully utilized. So, but we couldn't stop, because if you stop, you then make no returns from that investment. We had to keep on pumping in money. Yeah. By December 2014, we probably had like 100 staff. Net from what we were owing and what we had net of 10,000 naira. Personal money from everything net between the staff at December.
And you had just resigned.
And I just resigned. So, it was an interesting journey, because we now enter 2015, new factory, no money to buy material. Yeah. So that expansion almost consumed us. Yeah. But for God's grace. Yeah. So obviously we had to respond. We needed more capital. We are just taking. So I said net, right? So it wasn't like we had no money, but we are just taking a 5 million naira loan to buy an equipment that we're using in the current factory, and then so let's assume that we had paid part of that. So we had maybe 3-point-something million. You know how these things work, but net was 10,000 naira. Now, we didn't have enough money to buy raw materials and all of that, so we had to start taking funds. I couldn't go back to any other bank. So I had to go to one of my family members. I think my mom, we took a short loan from her, So again, that was just God's grace, because if we had not gotten that fund, I don't know what we would have done at that time.
Another thing we did was most of the vendors, we were owing them. Of course, you have to pay before you get another. So we had to tell them, look at our challenge. Please give us more. At least you've grown with us over these years. So some of them gave us a double,
what they would have normally given to us, So that was something that happened, early 2015. It was one of the major challenges.
How long did that continue for?
It didn't last. It didn't last long because by 3 months into the new product, the response was very positive. So, No, it was still phone cookies, but the new packaged phone cookies. Okay. Nibit came in 2009. Nibit is just a year plus. Nibit is just a year plus. It was for the first 9 years of Fastizers, it was just phone cookies, and the first 8 years. So it was still fun cookies, but a new fun cookies, newly packed fun cookies. The reach was more, the concerns, customer had major concerns about the way fun cookies was before. The product was breaking, the packaging wasn't nice enough, they didn't have NAFDAC number. But we had addressed all of those upon going into the new product. So it was a boom. So within 3 months of the new product, we kind of almost doubled the revenue, and then cash flows improved. And there's something about FMCG when your product is fast selling, customers pay in advance. So that was the point they started paying in advance. So it kind of helped us net off that stabilized that. So it has always been, a sine wave. From one problem to one success to one problem, because just as we're coming out of that, recession happened in 2016, and that, so by December 2016, like Debbie said, we didn't really respond. So it wasn't like we didn't respond. It was a strategy that didn't work as planned. So the strategy was, this product was moving. So revenue was growing. We're selling so much. The other products that were increasing their prices, the customers were coming to us. So we were just saying, okay, that we'll use economies of scale as your volume continues to increase to manage the cost. But by the time we got into 2017, the numbers looked very scary. We didn't feel the scale was going to cover the cost anymore. In fact, we thought we were making a gross loss, which we weren't. But, everything happens for a reason. We went for a price increase. By December 2016, customers were paying 1 month ahead of time for our products. By March 2017, our revenue had dropped 90%. Wow. Because we took a price increase in February and everybody stopped buying. Everybody. So the way things, it's just a sine wave. And then so now, before was you have so much sales. The logic was, even if you take a price increase, maximum you will lose 50%, but you will make more money, you will build them back over time. People stopped. And so the thing is this, your price point, if we have a price point problem in Nigeria, so if you travel abroad, you want to buy something and they'll tell you it's $9.99. It's, so you have this change, and it's a cashless environment. Change is never an issue. Change is always a problem here. So when your problem is 100 naira, your product is 100 naira, your product is 50 naira. What is it? You can't move it to anywhere. You can't go to 105. Even if you want to increase it by 5 naira, you can't go to 105. You can't go to 110. You can't go to 120. Where will you see 80 naira change? 150, 120, 110. Sure. The only place you can go from 100 is 150 or 200. 150 is 50% increase in price. So, we were like, that's too much money now. 50%, we'll give distributors part of it. We didn't need more than 10 naira, increase in price. We'll just share it among the distributors. When they see the big margins, they will push the product, but nobody bought. Wow. And then demand drops, for 3 months. We're like, what are we going to do? At some point, when we went into the market, we now started from the retailer. This product, they said they don't fold up. Now they sell again. I was like, blood of Jesus. So it was clear that the distributors were moving on, and we were moving on without us. Wow. So immediately we discovered that we had to do something. We had to revert prices. All the big boys were like, what were we thinking? All the big boys had reverted. Coke had gone to 150, come back. Pepsi had gone to 150, come back. Gala had gone to 100 naira, come back. Yes. Why did we think we would be able to, so it was clear we had to go back, but we couldn't go back because we were making losses, and we're like, what were we going to do? Well, you can't imagine how difficult that experience was. So we also made another mistake. We told our customers, so let's not look as if we did not inform you. You have to pay in advance. When you pay in advance, you have to pay us for 1 week. Like if you pay for 1 week, after this 1 week, you will buy it at the new price. Within 1 week, customer paid money. We have never seen that kind of rush before. Customer paid money for the equivalent of 2 or 3 months stock. So they paid the money for the equivalent of 2 or 3 months stock. They were buying it at the old price. They were selling it at the new price. We were losing money.
They
were making so much money. And by the time we fully utilized 100% of the money they had paid, we had only supplied maybe 50% of their goods. We were in trouble.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
You know. So we reverted price. We didn't want to touch the quality, but we had to remove a piece. So we reduced the quantity by 1. You know,
7 pieces.
From 8 to 7. We tried that when we brought in BT, a 15 naira brand. You know, but we had a lot of goodwill because we had integrity with the customers. We had to go back. There's no money. You know, we had used. You know, everything had gone up. You know, you guys had made so much money. You might need to, even though we have not finished supplying you the old one, the price has come down, but you need to pay for more. Then we will now use the money you have paid to offset part of, you know. So this was happening somewhere around, you know, we took the price increase in February. You know, we dropped the price back in May. So during that period, a few competitive products simultaneously happened to come into the market. So upon return, we didn't return back to the level we were at our peak. So it was like 2 months or 2 years of challenges. How do we return back to there? You know, so that was 2017, 2018. You know, it was a tough 2 years for us. Then 2019, you know, through innovation, product development, we then tried new product and then things began to pick up again. So that's how, you know, it has been. And then so 2019, things looked up. You know, the business was moving. Everything was looking good. Revenues were back, you know, were doubling. You know, 2020 was time to consolidate. Then COVID happened. You know.
And I would also add that in 2018, we kind of brought out a peanut cookies that didn't really do well at all. We pushed, you know, did a lot of promotions and all of that, but consumers did not, you know, accept that product. So we had to withdraw it. Even the BT that we brought out, you know, it wasn't really like a boom, you know, it was just gradually, people were just accepting it. So because we had thought that anything we bring out like this, everybody, you know, you must accept it, but most times it doesn't really, sometimes it doesn't really work.
That's a huge lesson on innovation and failure. Yeah. You know, the biggest companies, Google, you don't know how many failed projects those guys have because they do a lot, and then the moment you do it, you push it. The moment you see it's not working, don't hold on too long to it.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that we've learned. Yeah. You know, you develop products, you do your market research, try to find out what the market wants, you push it. If you feel like these numbers are not adding up, you make a business decision. Should we wait a while or should we move on? So we've kind of learned that over time now that don't feel bad. Yes. It's just business. It's not personal. When you introduce a new product and then it's not doing as well as you would have anticipated.
Okay. So you said largely it was the introduction of new products that helped you out of the recession impact that spanned through 2016 to 2018.
Yeah.
In just a moment, Gbola and Debby will be sharing some of their key learning points and habits that have helped them on their journey. Stay with us. I'm Oshaya, and you're listening to Origins Africa podcast. Hello, dear listener. As we prepare to wrap up this season, our very first, I have a favor to ask. Would like your feedback to help us in our plans for the next season. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like us to start doing, stop doing, or even continue doing? To get your response, we've created a simple form. Please check the show notes of this episode for the link and our social media pages at OriginsAF on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can simply type bit.ly/Origins Africa podcast feedback right now to access the form. BIT. B for bread, I for interview, and T for table. bit.ly/Origins Africa podcast feedback. I look forward to receiving your response. Let's make a difference together, one origin story at a time. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome back to Origins Africa podcast. So we've heard Gbola and Debby talk about the challenges they faced along the way. And now this is 2020. They are 10 years in business.
There's nothing that would have changed, with the benefit of hindsight, because I was happy we were very happy 2016. Now, while we were in it, you couldn't sleep, you couldn't eat. She said she wasn't worried. I think I was worried, because things weren't going well.
Why weren't you worried?
Okay, so maybe I was worried, but I was not expressing it. So maybe, of course, I was concerned, but one thing I always believe is that this is God's vision. And so before I started, I got a word, that our products will be as the stars in the sky and as the sand, which is upon the seashore. He said, we would come against competitors and we will prevail. And through Fastizers, men and women shall be empowered for prosperity. So this was, even I asked a lot of questions, what is going on, we've tried, but I was just seeing that this cannot be the end. This cannot, and that was why I said, my openness, that was a real turnaround for it. Was at that time, we need to do this. We need to bring out this product. So I was very excited about the peanut, I was excited about the BT. So when it wasn't working well, let's try. Let's bring out something else. Let's keep working. So at that moment for me, I was seeing that word. That was what was kind of, my focus, that this cannot be the end. If God has said it, if God gave it, all we need to do is just to keep working. So it kind of, it was what kind of guided me. I had questions, I had concerns, but this was what I was looking forward to. And that's still what I look forward to. And most times I say that we have not even scratched the surface. There's still a lot more. There's still a lot of ground. Even if you think that we've done so well, yes, thank God we've done so well, but there's still much more. And that's what drives me. That's my drive. That's what keeps me up. So no matter what happens, now we are trying to expand more. Even if you think the bit has done well, we are still bringing out more products. I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, we brought out a variant of phone cookies. And the person was like, you don't want to cool down. I said, I will not cool down. No. I will not cool down. So these are the lessons 2016 taught me.
Interesting.
For me, I was deeply concerned. I knew that, you could only get better, but one of the things that I was used to being in control, I was used to knowing what to do. But at that time, we seemed to have done all we knew to do and it wasn't working. So I think that was my greatest concern. And the question of, okay, what next? What is that thing you need to do to turn this around, So, but we kept on trying. Yeah. We never gave up. We kept on trying. We kept on pushing, and by and large, we still came out triumphant.
So now, what do you look forward to?
Debby. So, like Debby said, there's always something more. For us, we are definitely keen on diversification to see what next. Where even though we're a packaged snack food, we have been more focused on the flour-based snacks, so biscuits and cookies. We're saying, okay, what next from now? Can we go into non-flour-based snacks? Can we go into drinks? Can we go into other packaged food products? For the midterm. In the long term, is what other industries can we venture into? Is there what opportunities are there in oil and gas? What opportunities are there in real estate? What opportunities are there in different sectors of the economy, in agriculture that we currently don't play in? So we are still very young. I don't think we are relaxing on our oars at any time soon. We'll continue to push, continue to look for new opportunities. We are also big on creating a family-like team. So it's also called the culture of oneness. Inclusion is important to us. We're always trying to bring our people along, sharing our vision with them, letting them feel like they're a part of something bigger. So we don't want people to work with us in Fastizers and and then it's just a job. We want them to feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. So, yeah.
Do you want to add anything?
Okay, so I think Bala said it all, but as in what we're always looking forward to something bigger. So even when we get to a point, we are saying, what next? Like we just did an expansion less than a year, and we already say we need to grow more. We need to add, someone will look and say, you guys we don't want to take it easy because we know that there's still much more than we can achieve. And I like I said, that's what drives us. And the fact that you see that a lot of people are benefiting from it, as in you hear stories, some people, it is just Fun Cookies Fastizers product that they sell. That's what takes care of, the expenses, their health, everything about them. There are some distributors that solely depend, and you're just wondering how much if you get more people, to come in, that the impact will be, So for us, that's what really drives us, and that's why we keep doing, what we are doing.
I think I learned you've expanded to other countries.
No.
It's in the works.
No, it's in the works. We've started conversations. Obviously, COVID slowed down a little bit, but it's something that we are seriously considering. Yeah.
Okay. I know, or we've heard that doing business in Nigeria could be tough. How did the Nigerian business landscape with the regulations and stuff like that impact your business?
It makes you resilience. The Nigerian business landscape builds resilience. If you are not resilient, you will not be able to survive because things are tough. The regulations you can't plan based on regulation because regulations are currently changing. The policies are, not stable. You provide your own infrastructure that has an impact on cost. Sometimes you wonder if those policies, how do they think these policies is going to help the businesses, both small scale, big, mid-size and big businesses survive, at times like this. So I would say it's resilience. I cannot fully say, what policy has significantly helped us, but yeah.
What's the toughest decision you've had to make?
Toughest decision? For me, it's definitely leaving banking. It was leaving banking. For me, it was a huge step, because you don't also want to leave and then they tuck your tail behind your back and then have to reapply or something like that. So it was one of the most major decisions for me.
How do you unwind?
Okay, so of course, before COVID, we tried to go swimming, once in a month. There's this family meeting we try to do. So every month, once we call the children together and everyone comes to say, okay, this is what I do, this is what I think we don't like. So the children are telling you, Mom, this is what we do that we don't like. We too are telling them this is all. There's this family atmosphere that we deliberately, try to create. We also have what we call the pizza day. So of course the children, we always buy pizza once in a month. So gathering together and eating, it just gives some kind of, comfort there. I think the swimming also helped before COVID. So we try to swim at least once in a month, take the children to swim. Then I take sleep. I love to sleep.
Interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love to sleep. So
you know that you're catching up on the sleep, you didn't sleep at the early years.
Debby also unwinds with, she watches a lot of motivational messages, motivational speaking and messages.
Yeah.
She does that a lot now. Me, I unwind I watch movies. I watch movies or play. Sometimes if I have time, I may play a bit of video games. Sometimes she looks at me, we're back from work and then I'm staring at the TV. I might have even seen the movie 5 times. It's not really about the movie. It's just something to distract your mind from the activity of the talk because, just there's so much happening and you want something to just distract you so you are calmer and refreshed again for the next day. So I think that's what.
And when he's watching those movies, I'm always wondering, have you watched this movie? You say yes. And it's so, you concentrate with so much. I'm wondering, you've watched this movie before. But
what habits and practices have helped you on this journey? what habits and practices do you observe?
Okay, so I think that one for me it's saving culture. As in, that has really helped because, of course, I learned it right from time. So you cannot see me spend all my money. It's never possible. So we have an Excel where we, do expense. So this is how much we have to save, even for the company. So not just personal, so for the company. And over time, we have built on that practice. So even if you give me 10 naira to do, I must save out of it. I can't. It's like I'll be doing myself injustice to spend, all. So I think that's a major reason. One that has really helped. And I think that, I don't know if this is bringing inclusion, so bringing people together into what we do. So we try to share our visions with you to say, see, this is where we are going to. So you're not just looking at us as the management and, the employees. So we try to, bring people together to what we are doing. No matter whatever step we want to take, we will, okay, what's your own view? So we don't try to, kind of Lord, force our views on people. Okay, what's your own view? So I think that has really, really helped.
For me, I would say accountability has helped. Apart from saving, just being accountable. It's very easy if you are an owner manager to think that you can do things the way you like. So we try to be accountable to ourselves, accountable to some of our employees. So I can't just wake up and say, go and pay 1 million naira or 500,000 naira for that thing. We still try to channel it through the normal process. That has helped. It has helped us in our record keeping. So we have record of activities that we did in 2010, even when we didn't have a bank account. Discipline has helped, because when you come into some money, next thing, things that you don't need begins to look attractive. You are saying, why can't I have a Range Rover, sports right now? Why can't I have a house in Ikoyi right now? So, discipline has really helped us in staying content with what we have, not looking to impress, anyone, knowing that we're on our own journey.
Who's the more prudent between both of you?
We are both prudent, honestly, but I think I'm a bit more spontaneous around giving to people.
Okay.
I'm a bit more spontaneous. Debby is a bit more spontaneous around sewing.
Okay.
You get sewing, either in ties offering and all of that. In terms of giving to people, I can spend all my money. When somebody just come and say, I need this, I find it difficult to say no. So a lot of times, we had to, so she controls the money. She controls the money. She had been controlling the money even when I was in the bank. So the way the money is structured, even when we take my maybe 300K or 250K and have 50K into one post, then she divides equally. So even then, so that has been it. So there's now an amount called pocket money that you can use for anything you like. So I kind of limit whatever giving I want to do within that, so I don't begin to, because again, we're in business and it's a high risk environment, so I don't begin to spend your future on philanthropy and all of that. So, but I think from the organized perspective, I'll say she's more prudent.
I know you guys had also committed to personal development through the years. You've gone on trainings. I think you did an MBA or something like that. So for me, so continuous improvement is a core value for us as individuals and definitely core value for the organization. That's how we've been able to move organically throughout the years. And it's a reflection of who we are. So while I felt I was going to have a career in IT, I'd gone ahead to do all the certifications, MCSA, CCNA, CCNP, ITIL, PMP, just to develop myself in the area I believed I was going to have, competence in future.
Then when I found myself in business, now you're an engineer in business, you have to begin to develop the business savviness to support the brand that you are growing. So she had done Faith Foundation. She had gone to Faith Foundation, done the Women X program, gone to Kansas Institute of Baking to improve our technical competence. I did the MBA, right? Then we went for a Stanford program last year, developed for emerging economies to build medium-sized businesses to alleviate poverty. It's called Stanford Transformation Program, the Stanford Seed. So, we had done that. So, and then, she's also preparing for our own MBA. I'm now looking for what next. But what I try to do is every 2 years, there's something I'm adding, deliberately adding, maybe a certification, a course, every 2 years, at least for now, so.
What's your advice to listeners?
Okay, so I would encourage everyone. It's not everyone that wants to go into business. It's not an easy task, but it's a worthy, endeavor. And keep pushing, never relenting. Don't ever give up. Like we always say, failure is an event. It's not a person. So if one task doesn't work as planned, don't feel, oh, that's the end of my life. That's not the end of your life. That's the end of that event. So you pick up something else. And I'm sure that as you continue to move, as you're focused, you're passionate about what you do, you will definitely come out, a success.
Wow.
All right. So there's this popular African saying that says in Africa, when a gazelle wakes up in Africa, it knows that it must outrun the fastest lion, if not, it will be eaten. And then when a lion wakes up in Africa, it must outrun the slowest gazelle, if not, it will starve to death. Whether you are a lion or a gazelle, when you wake up running. So I think taking action is a major challenge with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people. In terms of, we analyze, we analyze politics, we analyze the economy, we analyze sports, but we don't take action enough in the things that we can influence, and we focus on all those things that are outside our control. So we all need to retrospect, looking at ourselves and say, what are those things that I can change today that can help me tomorrow, and then begin to act on those things. So will be my own part in that.
Looking back through the years, what would you ascribe your success to your talent, skills, and hard work, or to luck?
It's a combination. It's not luck. It's definitely not luck. It's a lot of things, but not luck. It is a combination of hard work, talent, skills, but I would say it's the grace of God. You see, because you can put the same amount of energy, effort in a venture, and then you get totally different results. So, there's somewhere in the Bible that says the race is not always to the swift, or the battle to the strong, or riches to the wise, but time and chance happens to all. So, while strategy is important, discipline is important, hard work is important, you must know that there is an element of all of this that is beyond you. There's an element of all of this that is beyond any man. And then, so it is a combination of all. So we walk as if there is no God, and then we pray as though there is no work, so that's how.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
If you were in my shoes, is there any question you would have asked yourself that I've not asked you yet?
If there any question you would have asked myself,
what's your greatest achievement?
Okay, and what would you say?
I think that it's still in the future. I don't think I've done any. There's no great tests
to date. So
it's
so
still
from inception to date, what's the greatest?
I think being able to run Fastizers,
Okay.
up to this moment for 10 years, through the struggles, through the challenges, and, one has been able to overcome. At least right now, one is still standing. I think that's great enough, for me.
So,
Well, that's her own question that I would ask. Is that your question as well? Do you have another question?
I do have another question because, in telling our story, we kind of covered a lot. So you probably would have answered a few questions that you might have had written down. For achievements, though, till date, again, honestly, it ties to my greatest fear, which was it fear or concern, which was being able to leave paid employment and never having a day that we considered we had to go back, but we had constantly been able to build Fastizers to where it is today. That's one very great achievement to me. What Fastizers is today is also great, having over 250 people working with you, and their families and their dependents, having that level of impact, having, your products in odd places in Nigeria. We never get tired of seeing our products, in different places.
And every time we see it, we're always very excited.
Always excited. We never get the excitement. We think we just started yesterday.
Yes.
Even when you see, even though it's not a good thing, you see a rapper on the floor, you're like, wow. So we just get, so that's a very huge.
People try to market your product to you to buy it.
Well, so that happens in traffic, when you see your product, mainly you see your product away. Because how traffic guys, at the moment you look at the product model and say, come and buy. You just say, how much is this one? It don't cost, so we do a bit of that. Yeah. And then finally is working with her is an achievement. People might underestimate what it means to work with your spouse. Seeing the same person every day. There's no new gist. You have to create. For you to have gist, you must create it, because I can't gist her about how this interview went because she's right here, So, there's no new gist. And, the way couples in business work, if you have problems at home, it can affect the business. If you have problems in business, it can affect the home, but we've been able to hold it together for this long. We are growing stronger, things are getting better. My wife is looking more beautiful, she's not looking tattered, So for me, a combination of those things would
What's
be...
What's one thing that helps that outside people can learn from?
Trust.
Okay.
Trust and communication. Not one, it's two.
Okay.
So it's trust and communication, because, there's that doubt of, is she trying to undermine me? Is she trying to work against my interests or anything? That is number one. Trust. Communication, because we discuss everything.
Yeah.
We discuss, no matter if you hurt me, I will tell you how. I don't keep it to myself if I hurt you. So that, and there's benefit of doubt that this person has my best interest. So even if he does something that is hurtful, there might be an explanation, so.
Who would you like me to interview next?
Next.
Mrs. Audrey Joe Ezekiel and her husband.
Yes.
Mrs. Audrey Joe. I don't know if, so they are also couples in business.
Okay.
They are one of our mentors.
What business do they do?
They are oil and gas.
Okay.
That
was Gbola Lawson and Debby Lawson, co-directors of Fastizers Food Confectionery Limited. Many thanks to Ayotunde Adegoke, who helped with the connection. And that brings us to the end of our first season here at Origins Africa podcast. We are most thankful to our guests who created time out of their busy schedules and were willing and open to share their origin stories. Without them, there wouldn't be any origin story to tell. And once again, many thanks to you, our dear listeners, for all the support, your reviews and comments, your subscriptions and follows on our social media platforms at Origins AF. Please do remember to share your feedback with us to help us in our plans for the next season. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like us to start doing, stop doing, or even continue doing? To get your responses, we've created a simple form. Please check the show notes of this episode for the link and our social media pages at OriginsAF on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can simply type bit.ly, B for banana, I for interview, T for tangerine, bit.ly/Origins Africa Podcast Feedback. Origins is with an S, so bit.ly/Origins Africa Podcast Feedback right now to access the form. We'll stop accepting responses by December 31st, so please do send in your feedback before then. Of course, you're probably wondering when season 2 will start. Don't worry, it will be sooner than you think, and we will communicate via our social media platforms. All the more reason for you to follow us. Our handle is at OriginsAF on both Instagram and Twitter. Follow us now. Anyways, it's been a pleasure doing this with you. Do have a Merry Christmas whilst wishing you a Happy New Year in advance. Our sound producer this week was Tumisha Jani, and the theme song was composed by Just Ritimi. I'm Oshaya, and you've been listening to Origins Africa Podcast. Bye for now.
My father told me life is not a bed of roses. You gotta put your way into the plow, do the work to smell the roses. Don't back down. Whatever you do, don't back down. When things get tight, keep the drive, keep the faith, stay in the fight. Draw strength from the motherland, let our heroes hold your hand. You are the answer. Hear the tales of those before you. Let their stories motivate you.